Fernanda Yanchapaxi knows all too well the challenges of childcare. The mother of two has juggled a job while also working on a PhD. And after 3 years on a daycare waiting list, she could barely afford it.
I had been using my scholarship to be able to pay for her daycare.
But the pandemic proved the breaking point. Months away from graduation, she put her studies on hold.
It's certainly a hard decision because I know that it's really hard for a woman to go into the job market before COVID, let alone now. But I didn't have any other option.
This recession has hit working women hard. In the first 2 months of the pandemic, 1.5 million Canadian women lost their jobs, plummeting their participation in the workforce to a 30-year low.
And having a tougher time getting back into the economy because of lack of safe school reopening and lack of even availability of childcare.
You'd have to say that it's been the aha moment.
Martha Friendly has worked on childcare policy for 50 years and welcomes the government's promise to create a Canada-wide childcare system.
Each province and territory would sort of have certain policy levers, but one of the principles already from the federal government is it should be affordable.
Similar subsidized systems already exist in Europe and in Quebec. That province's $2 billion a year program, introduced in the 90s, saw a spike in women joining the workforce.
There is a general consensus that it has been good for the Quebec economy, and it has been good for Quebec households as well.
Before the pandemic, women's participation in the Canadian workforce was 8% lower than men. The International Monetary Fund says closing that gap would boost Canada's GDP by 4%.
We can't have a recovery without a she-covery, and we can't have a she-covery without childcare. That's an economic argument. That's not a feminist argument.
50 years since the first calls for universal childcare, the pandemic may finally get things rolling. Jeff Semple, Global News, Toronto.